Hello, welcome to Peace Pat Paints. I'm the guy that does the painting. You're the folks that do the watching, or maybe you're painting too. I don't know. But when you hang out here every day, well, every weekday, not every day, every weekday. The weekends I try to spend with my family. Well, and usually on Saturdays we're busy like grocery shopping and all that. It's not really like fun time. But Sundays, all my kids are here, and I try to be available. Although they're kind of older, so they don't really. Whatever. They don't always need dad. Sometimes they do. Anyway, I hope you're having a great day. It's a beautiful day in here in Oklahoma. The weather outside is absolutely amazing. So I hope everybody gets a chance to be outside. As long as you're not allergic to whatever is going on out there, there's always something people are allergic to in Oklahoma happening. Anyway, so we are working on Khorne Berzerkers for World Eaters, which is army for 40k. It is Angron's legion. They are not really much of a legion anymore. They're mostly down into like little war bands and stuff like that, which is fun. For a little bit of a little lore. Angron was a gladiator. He didn't really want to be, just ended up that way because stuff happens, and he got really mad at his dad and life, and it sucked. So he was an angry person. So next we're gonna do is some Zenithal howling. Oh, but I have some other stuff to show you before we get into that. Hold on, let's talk about a little bit what it did. Number one, I did go ahead and where's that guy we were talking about? We didn't want to put his sword up. This guy's sword, I went ahead and changed it because once I got this shoulder pad on, I figured out that we could move his, it's so hard to see in black. We could move this up high enough so we could get our brush in there, no problem. So now the only two ones we're going to have problems with our brushes are going to be this guy and this guy, which most of that stuff's so obscured, anything we won't be able to paint well, people aren't going to probably notice anyway. So no big deal there. So we got that. Also, their heads are very decorative. So they have very intense headdresses and things like that. A lot going on. So I've pinned them all. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I can show you guys how to do that if you'd like. That's a pretty easy thing to do. It makes a lot of things that you have to do a lot easier once they're pinned. And all it really takes is just drilling a hole in the bottom of one of these. Pretty simple. I'll tell you what, if you don't have a pin drill, I definitely recommend you get one of these guys. They're not very expensive. You can get one online with like bits and everything for pretty cheap, 12 bucks. So, and they're super useful for a lot of different modeling things. So definitely highly recommend that. So with that, we need a little bit of our wire. This one's a 22 gauge. Just make sure you straighten that wire out. It's going to come out curved because it's in a spool. So straighten it out. You just need a little bit. And you just take a little bit of your glue. Drop that right in the hole. Take your little rod, stick that in the hole, and that plastic's just going to glue itself around there, and after a little while it will be stuck to the thing for the most part. I mean, you'll be able to pull this off pretty easily because it's just barely stuck on, but it's stuck on there, so we should be able to paint it like this. Now when you go down to spray painting them all, it's easy to be able to just put them on a piece of cardboard like this, and that's painter's tape, and you're able to just kind of be done with them. After that, they come out really easy too. That's fun. Anybody who has like that little, some people have a thing where they like to mess with that sort of stuff. No, it's a tick or whatever you want to call that. It's probably easier with a pair of pliers. Some folks might be able to ram this in with their fingers, but I actually find it easier to do this with a pair of pliers. I ended up bending the wire when I'm trying to do it with my fingers. I can't get them quite set in right. So pretty simple, pretty easy. See, there we go. I bent that one. And it's probably because I'm too high up. Because if you start, when you grip it, if you start too high up, where's the grand guy? Let's put the, this is definitely our champion's head right here. He's got the most extreme helmet. Extreme! So if you, sometimes you see if you grab up here, it's going to bend for sure. So you kind of want to get it. See, there we go. That's too high up. That seems rather tedious. And it is. But tedious in a good way. Useful. This is a useful tedium. And it also shows you, there's a good use for corks. I'm always saving cork for something. And this will make this a whole lot easier because my dang hands have gotten to where, like, trying to hold this tiny little hand and then, or on their head with all of the action that they've got going on there, it was gonna be difficult to paint their heads while they were on. So you gotta make, you gotta that warrants the need to do something like this. And some people do this, all the time. I've seen people do this with, all the bits. They'll do the arms, everything separately, and then they'll attach it all together, which is totally cool. Like if that's the way you want to do your stuff. I'm definitely I had some talk yesterday about whether my opinions on Tau or whatever. My opinions on most hobby stuff in general is like you should do what you think is fun. Like it's about you're doing a hobby. The whole idea is to enjoy it, have a good time with it. So, that's my opinion. If you think that that's what you want to do and that's why you want to do it, then it's definitely the way you want to do it. You should do it. It's like building squads and stuff like that. There's the rule of cool, If it's cool, do it. That's the rule. If you think it's cool, that's all that matters. Hey! Nope, no internet outage yet. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. There we go. Alright, so now we got a whole bunch of heads on pikes, which is freaking awesome. That's fun. We're going to put them off to the side. But that's fun. It's a hell of a lot of fun. And it keeps them from getting lost, too. Because I tell you what, when you have a bunch of little heads and you're trying to keep track of them suckers, they will almost always roll off somewhere weird, or there's just no telling. So it's good to have them in a done up like that. All right. Okay, so let's talk about Zenithal highlighting, and then we can get into some color testing. eyeball. Oh. Looks like everything froze though. There we go. Okay. Now I'm paranoid. Now I'm waiting. Now I'm just waiting for that internet thing to happen to us. Maybe I'll get lucky. All right. So we're going to Zenithal highlight, and you really should. It does make things easier. You can see better and lots of things. You could do this with an airbrush too, which you just kind of pick whichever direction it's supposed to be going, and then you just airbrush it. So pretty simple. The idea is to try to catch the edges of everything and give it the light that it would, you know, its shadows. We're basically creating the shadows and highlights through this method. So anywhere where we know where our light source is going to be hitting, we want to make sure that that area is lit up more than, say, you know, the recesses. Like so down under here, under this arm, we kind of want just a little bit. We don't need a lot, you know. Same thing with down under there. Across this chest, we need a little bit more because we're going to be, it's hitting, this is all going to have the sun hitting it, especially this leg. You know, that leg is going to be out there. But it's basically, you know, it's all, most of the idea is just keeping the concept of your light source. You know, if you're, don't do really heavy coloration on the underneaths of it, you know, versus the tops, because that's not how light and shadow works, right? It's kind of a common sense thing there. And, you know, if you're really wanting to get it light coming from one specific direction, you can definitely increase your tone in one place or another. You know, if we want it to look like it's coming from the back, we could definitely make all of this pure white, and it would make it could make the light look good, like it was coming back on the back of it. You know what I mean? There's lots of different ways you can manipulate a zenithal highlight to kind of start that. Oh, the shading, the highlighting, and stuff like that. Just make things a little bit easier. You know, and a lot of this is actually going to get covered in a metallic, which almost doesn't matter if it has a zenithal on it or not. But the places that won't, like these places in between, that red is going to be a whole lot easier to get our highlights done because it's been zenithal. And that's the idea. You can see I'm just really trying to back here because it's going to be, the light's not really going to hit that as much. We're not trying to get too much paint in there. Too much change of color. Same thing with the underneath of this glove here. We want some of this to be brought out because we want to be able to see it when we paint it. But it doesn't need to be nearly as highly saturated as the other side. You can see how we got just a faint one on that, a little bit stronger there. Actually, looks like it's bent. There you go. That's a little straighter. kind of keep looking around. Make sure you get everything. And obviously up here at the top of this. Goodness. We can do a lot more white, whereas like the bottom, it doesn't need quite as much. You know, we don't want it in the inside there on that skull because it's in the shadows. That's basically what you're doing. You're oop, my camera went out of focus again. Come on back, come on back, come on back. Come on. Come on, camera. Sometimes it does this. I haven't figured out why it loses focus. Maybe it's just a cheap camera. There we go. Alright, so yeah, there. Now it's back. Okay, so you see how we're getting that little dust of color over everything. And the idea is, like I said, you're just trying to create highlights and shadows before you're even applying any paint. As well as, you know, for us old timers, it's to be able to frickin' see what I'm doing. I can't see it. I'm getting old, guys. I really am. Like, I love doing the Zenithal highlight now because I flippin' can see it. It's kind of funny. Like, oh man, yeah, I can see all the details now. I kind of know what I need to do. Takes a lot of the guesswork out. I'm real worried about that piece at the top. You gotta be super careful around that thing. It just wants to get bent. Oh man, as a Gen Xer, that's hilarious. It wants to get bent. Alright. Hopefully everybody gets the idea on that one. Alright. So much Zenithaling to do. So much. This is going to be a lot easier though because he doesn't have all that big, tall thing going on. I guess it's like a banner or sigil. Legion signal. Shows he's the leader, the champion, I think is what it's called. Champion of Khorne. That's one of the things I love about this old paintbrush. I have some dry brushes, which I like using on certain things. But man, when it comes down to doing Zenithal highlighting, this old thrash brush is my go-to. It's like a, what is it called? Deco or Daco is the name of the company on it. That was a little bright. Slow down. Tried to, when we did all our selections, tried to get us plenty of arms and plenty of these side ones, and then I have I think everybody except for the champion has the World Eater logo on their shoulder. Really help bring out their heraldry, I guess. Alright, there's 2 of them. Hopefully it kind of gives you an idea of what you're trying to do. Alright. Oh. Do 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 do. This guy was almost done. I'm gonna finish him up. I was working on him before we got started today. These guys got so many cool little filigrees and pieces on it. It's going to be fun. These are going to be a lot of fun to paint. Alright. Let's do a color. How long are we in? We're into 24 minutes. Alright, be a good time to start a color test. We'll start off on that champion, I guess. Or should we save the champion for the last? Maybe we save him for the end. He's got some cool. They all got so many cool things on. This guy's the most simple. Let's do him. Alright. So, number 1, World Eaters. They were white. But now that they're Khornite, they're red. Now we've got a couple different reds we're going to use here. So we've got an Alzerian Crimson. I'm going to use this as a... So we got to load it down at work. I don't think I actually get a break today. Oh no! That's no good. On the other side, being busy is, that's not too bad though, because it means, they need you. All about that job security, Alright, so we got that crimson, we got a regular crimson. And then we might need a little bit of a highlight. So we might need to get all the way up to kind of an orange tint. which is what vermilion is. Vermilion is almost orange red. Looks a lot more orange on that camera than it is. We won't need very much of that. I don't know that we will even need it for their armor. We may need it for other things, but anyway, that's all right. There's a little extra water that need to be in there. I rehydrated my thing and it overhydrated. Okay. Keep on kind of look at all of these different things. He's got a like an actual buckle here and a belt. So the belt, we'll want to make that out of, you know, a leather color. Most of the rest of this stuff, I believe, is going to be red. And then we'll add our bronze over top of everything. And this is a nice thin layer of this. Don't worry if you get a little bit on other things that you didn't necessarily want to get red yet. This is a base coat. Part of why we want to keep it thin is it we'll be able to paint right over it if we keep it thin, and it won't disrupt those colors too much. If you make your first coat way too thick, there's nowhere to go after that. It's the same thing with the Zenithal. You don't want to put too much paint on there, because then you can ruin what you were trying to do on the rest of it. You know, we're not trying to make it solid white. We're trying to maybe we'll make the champion look like an old world eater. We can make it to where he has the white armor underneath, and then it's just stained with the blood, because that's the way it is in the lore with the older ones. Their armor wasn't red originally. It was white and blue, and then it got stained with the blood of the people they killed or whatever. The other Astartes that they slayed. If it's warrior leaders, though, it's probably also along with countless civilians, because they're terrible. Bloodthirsty ravagers that know no bounds. My boss is my mother. She can't do anything to me, even if she wanted to. Well, I meant like more as like the company, but yes. That is also correct. If there's enough business to where you're so busy you can't see straight, is kind of what I was alluding to. Fucking hilarious. Take your time. Don't get in a rush here. And don't get too flustered if it's not perfect. Because like I said, we're going to come back through. A lot of this stuff is getting hit with a bronze that you will not see any of that crimson overpaint on when we're done with it. You'll just will not. You won't see it. The bronze color we'll use is just too thick. The pigment in it itself, not even necessarily the paint, but the pigment, it is too dominant. It'll overtake red with a quickness. So this Alzerian Crimson, I don't know the corresponding color to it in, say, the Warhammer color scheme. Because, you know, they have all their own names. So they can copyright it. Because I don't know why. Honestly, I can't tell you why. I don't honestly know. That would be something fun to look up and figure out, though, just to talk about. There's got to be some legal reason that they decided to do it, because that's like they have a legal claim to the name Adeptus Astartes, because they couldn't claim Space Marine because Space Marine is too vague and was used before they were a thing, you know. So they invented this Adeptus Astartes thing so they could copyright that. And it's part of why we make fun of good old James Workshop on this show. So if you're not down with doing a little bit of poking and fun at the corporations, then we're probably not. You know, you could just ignore that. Hopefully, because I'm gonna do it. I can't help it. I love poking fun at corporations. They do some of the most ridiculous stuff. Like what? Like, who was it we were talking about? Or it was a podcast I was listening to. But it was one of these gaming companies that it's Dungeons and Dragons, I think it was. The virtual tabletop has collapsed, right? Yeah, that's what it was. And they did all this analysis, and they fire all these people responsible, and they shut down the idea of the digital tabletop and the digital format. Yeah. And then they had this big speech at one of their whatever it is, you know, one of the meetups, at talking about how the future was going to be digital streaming and digital shit. And again, and it's like, wait a minute, you just said that's why it failed. This other thing failed, is because you focused too much on it. And ugh, it's so funny. Japan denied. I see. Sir McBeardsly says Japan denied Nintendo's patent filing for summoning and battling creatures. Thankfully, the game industry would have been screwed if they had granted. Man, yeah, you can't. Nah. Nintendo, shameful. Well, it's hilarious. Trying to patent summoning. Oh my god. Yeah, we're gonna dunk on any corporation that does something stupid like that. We're totally dunking on them. That's happening. That's a thing that happens here. I'll do it again too. I'm a habitual line stepper as it is. Most people don't, you may not know that about me here on this channel, because pretty mild manner on this channel. But man, out in public, I am that guy that's going to be like, no, you can't do it like that. You know you can't do it like that. And I'll say something out loud, and I will cause a problem. I'm not always proud of the problem I cause, but I am always a bit, wait a minute. Yeah, man, there's no way. No way. You can't do that. They must have known there was no way. They must have known there's no way that was going through. No way somebody at Nintendo wasn't like, okay, so this probably isn't going to work, but we should try it anyway. That is definitely the conversation I was had. All right, now with our base on, we're going to come back with this other crimson and hit it up. And it's going to give us a nice, rich, dark crimson color. I like the way that brush was loaded, so I went back for more for anybody who wanted to know why I did that. The load seemed too thin, like it was going to be too watery, so I decided to go back. Just a little bit more of my thicker paint and get it back on there. Get it to, right, the consistency, the consistency that we want. By building our color in layers like this, we're really going to help with the way the eye is determining the shadow. Because we're going to grime it up later, but we really want to make sure that underneath that grime we've eliminated all the slaying the gray, so to speak. I cover up all of that Zenithal, but let the effects of it remain, is essentially what we're doing. It's really hard to kind of put it into words. Hopefully you're seeing the results. You can see as it's drying over here, you'll see it come out more and more. Keep breathing. Maybe just yeah, man. I did not know that, but it honestly doesn't surprise me with Nintendo though, because like Nintendo is just, they've gone through their moments of being a particularly nefarious corporation. They kind of go back and forth on it. It's kind of fun. I don't think companies should be able to trademark common words. Yeah, no, really. Like, you shouldn't be able to, like, the word bunny should not be patentable. But if the combination of Bugs Bunny, I can understand. You know what I mean? But like, you shouldn't be able to patent. And like, and again, that's why Warhammer, you got to give them their props. You gotta give James his props. Because he totally... Now that looks like a leather glove. If I'm honest. We should paint red anyway, right? Come back. Put the crimson on it. We need to put the Alzarian on it anyway. Give him red gloves. I mean, I guess that doesn't make any real difference what color it is. Especially since we're trying to get these done and out of the door. These will be available for sale for anybody who's maybe looking to add some fun world eaters to an army. Be a great little maybe vanguard unit. Got to get that Alzarian in underneath his hands here, so we'll go ahead and hit it up. While we're at it, we'll go ahead and do this glove. For the reason I thought it was a bare fist, it's not. It is definitely a glove. Back up, you guys can see the hell I'm doing. I start trying to get comfortable, and then I always push it way out of view. Definitely not intentional. Okay. A little too much paint right in there. I want to go ahead and pull that out real quick. I do not want that to sit in there. Boom, boom, boom. Right through these guys. Knocking it out as fast as you can. Nintendo is the Disney of Japan. It really is. That's not untrue. Even though there is Disney in Japan, it's definitely not. It's still controlled by the mouse in the house over here. In Japan, Nintendo is definitely that insidious kind of corporation. Yeah, that's a nice looking crimson, eh? Let this stuff finish drying up. Should be in pretty good shape. Especially that fist. We can let that fist dry up so we can put the red on it. Well, that sucked. There's a box of AdMac. Oh my gosh. Luckily, there's not a whole lot of like loose pieces there. They're mostly built. They just need to be cleaned up. Kind of should do them at the same time here. Okay. This was so funny about like add mix. That sounded like an MT. It's alright, I'll clean it up after I get done. It's not that we need for this project, it's for yet another army that lives in this house. We might have too many armies over here. Alright, so here's it's a nice bronze. It's nice bronze. Actually, I love this. I do particularly like this bronze. This is golden iridescent bronze fine. Is the name of it. Full name. Its government name. Just ever so carefully pull out the highlights, all the tops of everything. Takes a little bit of time, patience, lots of breathing. Just very careful. Don't hold your breath for too long. I do that all the time. I'll be working on these things and I'll be hold my breath. Definitely not a good idea. You should definitely breathe through it. I do kind of like the idea of doing that commander up in maybe not so much, maybe not give him so much gold trim, bronze trim. A little bit of white and blue on there. Actually, that little piece right there on the inside, I need to paint it a separate color. So, right, let me get this one color, and then that other section, we should make it red. These pauldrons are very different than the other ones. I think it's because of the era of their armor. Or has something to do with them in particular. Escapes me at the moment. My World Eater lore is not like 100% up to snuff, I suppose. I wish I could say, hey, well, no problem, man. I appreciate you stopping by. We're definitely slowly but surely gonna get these guys together. So come check us out later. Also post those shorts and things. So, but thanks for coming, man. Appreciate it. I think it's awesome. Anybody comes and spends any time watching me. So thank you, everybody. I really do mean that too. I'm not. Thanks, friend. Appreciate you. love those. That even that comment's super huge. It pushes that algorithm around, which is crazy. That it like even a single comment from somebody who doesn't comment regularly, or has maybe is a brand new viewer, like that stuff makes things go nuts on your algorithm, which is cool, but also really weird. Kind of creeps my a little bit. I'm a little bit I think maybe I watched Maximum Overdrive a few too many times as a child. Maximum Overdrive. God, I haven't thought about that movie in a while. With the big, what was that? Green Goblin's face on it, on the semi truck, and it's chasing him around in the movie. It was originally like a Stephen King story, I think, when he was writing under Richard Bachman. So that's a fun deal. There's several of these movies, or things that have become movies, that were written by Stephen King under the alias or pen name Richard Bachman, and he wrote under this other name because he had started to worry that people were just listening to or reading what he was putting out simply because his name was on it, and that he had that imposter syndrome. And imposter syndrome is so weird. You feel like, oh, you don't deserve all this. But yeah, Stephen King thinks, oh well, man, people are reading my books simply because it says Stephen King. I don't feel like they're reading them because I wrote a good book or whatever. So he writes these books under Richard Bachman. And he had The Running Man and The Long Walk and Maximum Overdrive. And I don't remember if that's what they're actually called in the books. I just know they made movies of them. And there was another one. I'm trying to remember what the last one was. They just recently made Long Walk into a movie, which is kind of cool. Oh, I need to look up what we need to do on the inside of that. Is that supposed to be red? Or are we going to paint like a world in there? Make a little tiny world inside each one of them. That'd be crazy. Might be a little too much. Make sure you get these sides of these pauldrons too, especially ones that are exposed like that. You'll be picking them up, and every time you see it, you'll be like, ah. So make sure you get that little spot. If you can't really see it, it won't bother you as much. But the parts you can see, man, you'll for a while, for every time you pick it up afterwards, I'm telling you, the rest of the time you own that model, you'll be like, ugh, you should have painted that. Another key to being able to do this gilding is your brush, like how wet you keep your brush and how moist you're keeping your paint. You don't want too much water, but you don't want it to get too sticky. So you got to maintain a balance. Golly. I'm out of water. That's not good. No, we're almost done for the day anyway. I thought we were going to see old Connor. I guess he got into some delectable biomass. I think he's in college though, so he's like, man, bro, you better been doing something more entertaining than this. Like watching me. I appreciate you watching me, but dang, come on, you're in college. If you don't have class for the day, you should definitely be having a good time. Go have some fun. But if you're stuck inside, and you want to learn how to paint some models, definitely think you should check me out. And I'm appreciative to everybody who does. Oh, bronze on the top of that right there. We kind of get that off. There we go. Even if we've got to come back and repaint. So you guys kind of see where... Dang, camera. All right, here we go. Here, back. So you kind of see where we're going with that. Lots of fun. Get that red on that glove. So we don't forget. And I come back tomorrow and I'm like, ah! Because we all know I will be. We all know I'm going to be like, what? Why did I do that? Alright, so there's the first part of the color testing. Got a few more things to do. Definitely need to check out. Well, let's take a look at that real quick. I assume there's a picture of paint scheme somewhere. Oh, it's like a black gray. I'm gonna look up some of the. I'm gonna look some up. But that gray, like a metallic gray, might be fun. All right. Thank you, everybody who came by. Really appreciate it. As always, a huge shout out to Sir McBeardsly, my ever stalwart friend. I do appreciate you, my friend. Can't wait to see. I think try to get by there November 22nd. I will be in Oklahoma City at the Toy Extravaganza, which will be a lot of fun. It was fun last time. We didn't sell a lot, but we made a lot of contacts and we got a lot of subscribers, kind of like this last one. And then after that's done, I get all my stuff back up on my wall here. Let's see what else we got. That's about it. We'll be back tomorrow. Thursday, I do have an appointment. There will be no show on Thursday because I will be at the doctor, at the neurologist, trying to figure out what's going on with my head. So hopefully, we get some answers there. That'd be great. And yeah, other than that, it's all good. Hope you're having a great day. Enjoy the day, and no matter when you found it, if it's today or it's way out in the future. We're also going to get to watch my beard grow back, so that'll be fun. It's about time to clean this back up again, though. I like to keep this kind of shorter than this. I don't know why. I think it gets itchy. This just gets so itchy. Anywho, that's it. That's all I got. You guys have a great day. Be good to somebody. Be good to yourselves. Be good to people you don't know. And, spread that goodness around. We'll talk to you later.